Karen stopped paying my parents' rent, so we evicted her.
You don't pay, you don't stay.
Backstory. My parents used to own a house on big land. When my older siblings went away for college, the house felt too big for our needs, so my parents decided to sell the house. But not all the land. They built a smaller house on the part of the land they didn't sell. A few years after, we moved to a city 2 hours away and kept the house as a place to go to during the summer. My parents decided to rent the house as it was well located and had a really nice view. Renting meant that they could use the money towards the mortgage and taxes. By the way, this comes from Alana on the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So enters our Karen.
She always comes.
Karen and her boyfriend rented the place so she could be closer to her work. From the start, my dad made it clear the place was for rent, and my parents planned on living in that house after retiring. At that time, both of them planned to work for at least another 20 plus years. So you got the 20 years. That's a lifetime.
Yeah.
They would, of course, notify Karen in advance when they wanted to take the house back, so she would have plenty of time to find a new place. In return, they asked that she notify them in advance should she wish to move out so they could find a new renter. The lease also stated that my parents would have some of their things in a locked storage in the basement as well as in a shed on the property, and that they would always call Karen before dropping by to get some things out of storage, which was in the basement and connected to by the garage, so they wouldn't even disturb Karen. So they would notify them in advance, let them know. For a few years, Karen was an okay renter. She paid the rent through a check each month. She smoked inside and did not take care of the land, but my dad didn't make a fuss about it. Real trouble started around 12 years. Every few months, Karen checks would bounce back.
Honestly, really quick, for trouble to start after 12 years with one renter, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like, she was chill for 12 years? I've never heard of a lease that long.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know if they probably maybe it was like they renewed it every year, but like for I don't know, pretty good deal.
Pretty good to bounce back, yeah. But the smoking inside and not taking care of the land.
No, not great. But also, I mean, do we necessarily take care? Like, I don't know if it's necessarily.
We don't smoke inside.
No. But like the land, like that's not our job.
Oh yeah, yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, like I feel like usually land stuff, especially if it's like a lot of land, that would be up to the landlord to take care of.
True.
Yeah.
My dad would call her to ask about it. Karen would profusely apologize and rectify the situation. Then it became every other month until it was every month. Finally, my dad had enough and called her about the lease and the rent. During the call, Karen argued that since she had been paying rent for the past 12 years, their house was now hers.
I don't think that's how that works.
Of course that's how it works.
You're right.
My dad was shocked since that came out of nowhere. We tried to explain to her that she was renting the place like they had agreed on since the beginning. Karen went on an itch fit about how she had paid so much over the years and she was the only one living there and taking care of the place, which she was not at all. Therefore, it should be hers. She threatened to take my dad to court. Bring it!
Bring it! They probably got a lot of money if they have two houses, renting one out. Mm-hmm. Dude, all the money they got from your rent, they're just going to put towards a lawyer. Yeah. That was all extra money.
For this situation. Mm-hmm. Now, where I live, there are many laws which protects the renter, and it can be a real itch to deal with when you have a nasty renter. My dad hired a lawyer to make sure everything was in order. After a meeting with Karen where the lawyer was present, she realized she didn't have much of a case since all the paperwork concerning the house was in my dad's name and the original lease clearly stated that it was a rental. My dad offered her to stop renting should she wish to after the whole debacle, but she wanted to stay in the house. He made her sign a new lease where it stated again that this was a rental, and should she not pay or cause trouble again, my dad would give her the shortest possible notice of eviction allowed by the law. Karen is still renting the house after almost 20 years. My parents are not close to retiring yet. Do hope it won't turn into a crap show when they decide to take it back the house. And we have an edit, long edit. Any thoughts?
Man, it's just I feel like they'll be fine. It might take it might take some time, but I think they have all of the legal stuff in order.
Facts. I feel like we're good renters.
Yeah, I think so.
As a renter, I feel like I feel like
we're doing a great job.
We're pretty great.
Honestly, I feel like as renters, they should lower our rent.
Oh, honestly. Dang, yeah.
Because we're so good.
So we're so good.
We're just such good renters.
Every time we pay on time, we should get like...
Yeah, $3.
$3 off. Every time. Edit. The question, why did your dad let her sign a new lease? Comes up a lot in the comments. I will say what I answered throughout the comments. I don't have the slightest clue why he would do that. As I was a kid much younger when this happened, I wasn't kept in the loop much. It was also not the reaction I would expect my dad to have, since he is respectful to others and expects the same in return. I do know the legal actions he took when she threatened to take him to court did protect himself and many future problems that might arise. I do appreciate all the concerns and the advice, although I do think my dad had a good reason to keep her as a tenant from hell after everything that went down. Now we got an update.
Man, oh man. What was the lease change?
I don't know. It sounds like OP wasn't in the loop with all the lease changes. I believe he probably wrote in a new lease saying, hey, as a reminder, and also putting in their new, like, you will get the shortest eviction notice if this happens again. He probably replaced that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Update. Since the beginning, there was a mutual agreement between Karen and my parents that they would both give a 6 months notice before she moved out, or my parents would like to take back the house. Last week of June, my dad received a phone call from a representative of Karen. Due to financial circumstances, she was giving a month's notice before moving out.
It was the 6 month thing in the lease?
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming it was.
My parents were surprised by the short notice, but didn't really mind it, as they were looking forward to taking back the place.
Yeah, I guess it's better than just like her staying there, you know?
Yeah, they might lose some money, but at least it's available. Then
She's gone.
Yeah. Last week, July, Karen was set to move out, but she asked for a week extension as she couldn't find anybody to help her move. My parents agreed. She was now set to move out by August the 4th. With the car all loaded up, the essentials, dinnerware, and cutlery, small furniture, we left for our first trip to the house. The plan was to look at the state of the place, clean it a little bit, and take measurements for remodeling my parents are planning. As we get to the place, we notice a small sign in the driveway to advertise for a garage sale at the house. We figured she forgot to take it down. We were wrong. As we get to the house, we can see boxes and furniture through the windows. Cue to the shocked Pikachu face as she answered the door. Turns out she hadn't moved yet and meant to call my dad and let him know, but of course she never did. She clearly didn't expect us to drop by so soon after her supposed moving date. My parents were both extremely pissed, but they gave her an additional week and expectations of payment for the weeks she overstayed. August 18th.
She better be out. She better be out.
The mercy and grace you got from this.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't evict you, or they didn't like push you out. They were like, okay, fine, you got to stay there for another week.
Stay there for another week, but you got to pay.
Please.
August 18th. My parents received the confirmation that she left the week she was supposed to. They had a neighbor drop by to make sure her things were really gone, but we didn't have time to make the trip until a week after. We found the place in much better shape than we expected. Of course, the place is not in a perfect condition, as it clearly has the wear and tear of a place that has been lived in for years. It still needs a good cleanup, some fresh paint in most parts of the room, and a lot of work on the land. There's also plans of remodeling a bit to make an additional room on the first floor, so my parents don't have to go up the stairs all the time. And you can join us all the time when we go live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
This is good.
This is good. I think everything's working out.
Yeah, she turned out.
You really only had to deal with the problems for a couple months out of 12 years with this renter. I think that's pretty good.
Not too bad. We've seen worse.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, way worse. Turning a new leaf over. So this ends this whole chapter. My parents got the summer house back years before they expected. And although the renter was difficult until the end, she mostly went away without all the trouble we had expected. My parents are happy to take back the place and are looking forward to all the projects they have for it. They have been there almost every week to clean out and sort through the things we had sorted there. My dad did a fresh coat of paint in some of the rooms, and they are looking for furniture. My brother went once and started to clear some of the things of the trees and get back the awesome view we used to have from the kitchen. My dad bought an old lawn tractor to help with the yard work and is excited like a little boy with a new shiny toy. We'd like to get the place cleaned and ready to hopefully spend Christmas camping there, as we most likely won't have a lot of furniture there yet. So that was good.
Everything worked out.
Everything was great.
All's well that ends well.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. That wasn't too bad.
No.
I think that's the end of the episode.
That is the end of that episode. We love you
and see you tomorrow.